Welcome to the empty bed, men finding their way after loss. I have been asked by a few people to go into a little bit about my story and what this is all about. So I do have a bunch of questions that were emailed over to me from people off of Instagram or TikTok, whatever, a few different platforms. So I thought I'd go into that and give a little background here. So yeah, the empty bed, it's really for other men who have lost their wives and are kind of like me. I've lost my wife to cancer. I'm still raising kids. I'm a solo parent, and I'm trying to figure out how to operate day to day. So today I'm talking with myself. I have a lot of things to cover, and I'm sure some things that will relate to others. So my name is Mark. I lost my wonderful wife, Denise, to breast cancer. We were married for almost 24 years, knew each other for almost 30 years, and have two wonderful kids. At the time she died, my daughter was 10, my son's 16, and she died in March of this year, March 2025. Yeah, so it's interesting. I just noticed that I'm videoing here and her ring showed up. Usually they're tucked in under my shirt. And here they are. I've been wearing them ever since she took them off when she went to hospice. Which was the toughest day of my life. Yeah. But let's talk about life before cancer. What things were like, in our house before then. So here's a quick little summary on what life was before the big C showed up. Cancer. Fuck. Yeah, my wife and I were married for almost 24 years. In 2016, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And, where am I going? I'm already starting with cancer. I'm supposed to go backwards. Life before cancer was amazing. She was diagnosed in December of 2016, right around the time of year that I am recording this, just before Christmas. I don't know how to do this. I really don't know how to do this, so I'm just going to do it. Talk about Denise. Denise was an amazing woman, a great mom, a great friend to a lot of people. She was always the spark and the joy in a room. She was always laughing, even when things got tough. But I'm not going to go into that right now. We got married in 2001, and we had a good life together. We're blessed to have two great kids. Life was good. Life was good for us. Very active. We were very healthy, and we were very a healthy and active family. My wife used to mountain bike, snowboard, go for trail runs, hike, do all kinds of active things. Snowshoeing on the local mountains here. And, she ate well. Like you'd say why would someone like this get breast cancer? And that's what is fucking shitty about cancer. It doesn't matter who you are, what you do, if you're good to yourself or if you're not, it can sneak up on you. It doesn't take numbers. It just shows, I guess. So I wanted to start out, So I wanted to start out with talking about life before cancer, and it's almost like I can't even remember what life was like before cancer. And especially now that she's gone, I'm a completely different person. I can't even remember. It takes a lot to remember where we were, which is what's great about pictures. I've been going through a lot of old pictures and looking at old memories, how we were living back then. We were a super active family, mountain bikers, snowboarders, snowshoeing, paddleboarding, running, trail running, road running, whatever. We were always outside. And Denise was, a super healthy woman. And from a work perspective, she was in commercial real estate. She leased retail space to large companies who put their stores into malls. That's a very basic explanation, but she was very good at what she did, and she had a lot of solid relationships with and friends with people that she worked with directly, and with the company that she was at, and also just customers that she supported. But on the home life, she was she liked to manage our house. She definitely liked to have things set under control. A lot of planning. She was she was a planner. She loved to have things moving ahead, moving in advance. We knew kind of what vacations we were going on next. Were we going to Mexico? Were we going to Hawaii? Were we going to Tofino? It was, all these things were planned ahead. She always wanted to travel. She loved traveling. And she always pushed that forward. She always had, she thought of other people first more than anything else, and really took care of our kids and took care of me. And that's been a really hard part now, because I'm the one trying to take care of things, and I'm learning a new skill. So yeah, when you really look at our family, we were super happy. There was a lot of joy in our everyday lives. Just being at home or being out and about, being at the beach. We did so many fun and enjoyable things. We were always looking for great things to do with the kids and keep them active and joking around. And yeah, so that was kind of what our life was like. There was a lot of love, a lot of friends, a lot of just a lot of joy out of life. And then December 2016 rolled around, and that's when the big C showed up. Denise kind of self-diagnosed. She found a lump on her breast, and even though she had done mammograms and other tests, throughout her life, nothing had showed up before then. And she found a lump one day in the shower, and was concerned. Went to her doctor, went to get further testing, and lo and behold, she had breast cancer, HER2 positive breast cancer, and she opted to do various therapies that I think I might go in more detail if people want to hear about it on a different session, because I can go into quite a bit of detail as to all the different therapies and everything else that she went through and experienced during her cancer. I hate the word journey. It was her cancer war, her cancer battle, and I'll do that another time. But definitely things changed when she found out. When you hear that word that you have cancer, and that it is not just in one location, but there's hope. Well, hope is probably the smallest part of it. cancer is the biggest word that you hear, and you're scared shitless. For you, for your friend, for your family, for your kids, wondering how long you're going to be here. You know, what do you have to do to survive? So that definitely changed. Cancer took away a lot of things. It took away a lot of joy in our life. It's you think you're safe, and you think you have a solid life and everything's going well, and hey, this isn't going to happen to me. This shouldn't happen to us. Come on, we have a great life. How is this going to happen to us? We're not going to be that family, are we? No, we're going to get through this. We're going to fight it. We're going to move through it. Yeah. We're going to be positive. And, you know, you try and be positive, but your identity slowly shifts as you get deeper into it. So cancer really took away the joy in our life. It took away a lot of our, it changed the way we lived our life. It changed the way that, you know, we used to be really active and go on runs together and go snowboarding together as a family, skiing, snowboarding. It was a big thing for us. Mountain biking as a family, you know, getting out on hikes. A lot of those things were taken away. Not right away, you know, they were on and off, but definitely towards the last year, we just couldn't do those things anymore as a family, and it was really tough. You know, somebody asked me, did I feel like I was already grieving when she was still alive? And I never really thought of that before, because you're living in it, right? You don't really know what the hell is going on with all your emotions. We're guys, like, we're not used to expressing our emotions. But yeah, I was definitely grieving. I didn't even know at the time. I was so fucking angry at everything. You know, I remember it was like 8 months before Denise died. My daughter asked me, I was picking her up from school, and I'm usually a really positive guy and happy all the time and everything. And she asked me, she said, Dad, why are you angry all the time? You're always mad. And I was like, oh my God. Kind of gave me a kick in the stomach. And I was like, yeah. I thought to myself, yeah, I am angry all the time. But I said to her, oh, geez, I'm sorry, honey. I'm upset because of what's going on with Mom. And it's been really tough. But I'm going to work on that. And so, you know, I did work on that. How do I say, how did I work on that? I just started listening and reading things that were more positive. Tried to get my head out of the cancer paperwork and everything to do with what battle she was going through at the time, and tried to focus more on my kids, on love, on how, if this was going to be the last moments that we were going to be together, how we could live those that in a way that was more positive. And I'm getting all emotional right now because it was so tough to do, to try and live positively, you know, showing that outer smiles and strength when inside I was being torn apart because I could see my wife degrading every single day and every single week, things that were changing and that she was not getting better. how do you live and when your life is completely changed, your identity is completely changed? It's not what Denise signed up for. That's not what my kids signed up for. It's not what I signed up for. How do you continue to move through it? And this is before she died. So yeah, it was leading up to the last few months were really tough on all of us. We did the best we could with what the cards we were dealt with at the time. And like I said, I wasn't going to go into this. I know I'm going to go into it maybe more detail on another time. So yeah, I was definitely grieving. There's 5 stages of grief. Well, there's a lot of, I call it the language of grief. If there's the languages or the 5 languages of love, or whatever the fuck you call it, 5 love languages, well, there's the 5 languages of grief. Anger is definitely one. Anger and fear. I was angry at everybody. Sometimes I still am. It's been almost 9 months since Denise died. It'll be 9 months in 2 days. Yeah, you get angry. So I was definitely angry and scared of what was happening, scared of what might happen. A lot of things go through your head. And I know my kids were scared, but they didn't want to say it because, kids don't want to upset their parents. But they were scared. They were losing their mom. Everything they knew about their mom was being taken away from them. All the joy, the little pieces of joy were slowly being stripped apart and ripped apart. Even though we tried to hold things together as much as we could, it was the toughest thing that I've ever done, that I've ever been through. And, Denise would always think of her family first. What could she do? She wanted to protect her kids. She didn't want to leave me alone. She didn't want to leave us. She was amazing. She really was. And then she died. The hardest part for me in the first few months, I didn't know what to do. Even though it's coming, even though I knew Denise was not going to live, there was no turning back from the progression of cancer in her brain. And because it had spread to her brain after several years, there was no turning back. I knew that, but you don't know what it's like. I could still be with her. I could still say good morning to her every day. I could kiss her on the cheek when I woke up. I could tuck her into bed and snuggle up with her at night. I could help her with her medication. I could prepare lunches and dinners for her and for the family, obviously. And, I knew the day was coming. I didn't know exactly when, but I did know that she wasn't going to make it. I still held out hope. Right to the last day, we were researching and trying to figure out what possible other medications that she could take. What other treatments could she take? Could she fly overseas? Could she try some trial that might help her? A last Hail Mary, right? And I think we ran out of our Hail Marys. but I thought I was prepared for, I thought I'd be fine. And she said, you're so strong and you're so positive, and you'll miss me, but I think you're going to be okay. I'm more worried about the kids. That's what she would say. And honestly, I thought I'd be fine too. I thought that I had the tools in my toolbox to be able to march on forward. Yeah, I would be taking time off work. Not that much though. I could just compartmentalize this and move forward and carry on, keep on breathing, keep on walking, keep on keeping on. But I didn't know that I'd be shattered. And I know I've been asked before, what's the hardest part of your day? Every fucking hour is the hardest part of my day. Some days, every minute is the hardest part of my day. It has been 9 months. There are days that I'm doing pretty good. I definitely need to be either exercising or get outside, go for a walk or something to help clear my head. That helps me put the day into perspective, helps me think about how to manage my day. About the first few weeks and months, I was numb. I didn't know who I was. Honestly, I still don't know who I am right now. This is a complete identity change. And again, Denise used to talk about how she didn't recognize herself anymore when she looked at herself in the mirror, and she didn't know who she was. And I could see it, but I wasn't living it. I could see physically that, yes, she changed, and physically she couldn't do certain things. Her mind was still there. It was sharp as a tack. But her identity changed, and it was difficult to come to terms with that and accept that all the things so many things that she loved before that she couldn't do anymore. So many things that she wanted to do and experience with us, with the family, that she couldn't do them anymore. And that just it just made her so upset, because she wanted to do these things with us. She still lived in the moment with us and maximized the amount of time that she had with us. But from an identity perspective, losing Denise, it's like, okay, now what? Who am I now? Am I no longer a husband? I'm no longer married to the love of my life. I'm alone. I'm alone every night in bed. I'm alone at home. I'm a solo parent, solo dad. Yeah, there's a friend of mine reached out. He says, "Oh, now you're just like me." He's divorced. I'm like, I didn't answer. I'm not like you. I didn't have a breakup. My kid's mom is not still around, just down the road, taking the kids every second week. Their mom's never coming back. Their mom's dead. My wife is dead. I don't have a wife anymore. It's a lot different than a divorce. Sorry, guys. That's just the facts. It's not the same. Anyway. Yeah, those first few months, or those first few weeks, and even first few months, I had some amazing help from some amazing friends, some of Denise's girlfriends, that, the dream team that helped put together the celebration of life when I couldn't think straight, and some of my good guy friends who helped me out around the house, and just, wanted to make sure that I was okay, and that I could continue to move forward. It's the support that was there and is still there today. It has been amazing. You get a lot more support when it first happens. There's a lot of, I call it it's almost like a beehive. There's a lot of bees buzzing around helping you or going into the hive. But after, over time, there's not as many people checking up on you or checking in with you. There's not as many people checking in with you, except the core. I've got a core group of friends that have been amazing and that are kind of like my safety unit that I can talk to at any time, that are local, that are out of town. Just some amazing people that are in my life and my kids' life that are here for us and will always be here for us. And I'm eternally grateful. I am so grateful for these friends. I don't know if I could do it without them, honestly. Yeah. Thank you. And then my kids were in school and I was sleeping a lot. I would drag myself out of bed. It was a good thing that the kids were here because I probably wouldn't wake up. I would drag myself out of bed, get the kids ready, get them off to school, come back home and go to bed. I slept a lot. I had friends that would come over and check in on me. I did go for a few walks, but not many. I kind of just floated around the house, not really knowing where I was. It's a weird feeling. I felt like a failure. I felt like I'm failing me. I'm failing who I am. I'm failing my kids. I don't know how to live. I started throwing myself into gardening. I've always been a big gardener. So I decided, I got to get into this garden. There's so many freaking weeds in our garden because we haven't spent any time in the garden in the last few years with Denise being sick. It was just more spending time with the family and with her. Fuck the garden. But now I had this time and I was like, okay, you know what? I want to get back into the garden. Maybe I can clear my head this way. It can help me. And then I had some great friends that showed up and just helped me so much in the garden. To me, that was a huge thing. Kelly and Robin were here for hours. Just, it's like cleaning out the shit that I wanted to take care of. And just to have a peace of mind of, maybe I can control one thing. And, they helped out a lot. They were in my garden beds. We got a pretty big garden. In my garden beds, cleaning things up and weeding and, joyful. And it was great. I wasn't always outside. Most of the time I wasn't. I was either inside doing my own stuff. We had so many weeds in our back grass and I just freaking was insane about pulling out these weeds. It's like it was like pulling out or trying to kill cancer. I just kept pulling out the weeds. I thought, okay, well, at least maybe I can control this. Maybe I can stop the weeds from growing in my grass. I couldn't stop cancer. I couldn't stop that from spreading. So I can do this. And I spent, I don't know how many hours. I spent hours and hours. My back was killing me. So where am I at today? Where am I at today? Well, we're coming up on 9 months. Most people will say, hey, Mark, how you doing? And my standard answer is either I don't answer, I just change the subject. They say, how you doing? I say, oh, it's a nice day. How are you? Or I just say, okay. If someone, whatever, in a grocery store asks me or something, how are you doing? How's your day? Okay. And then just move on. Unless you really want me to unpackage everything and tell you that my life feels like it sucks today, I'm sad every day. I don't know what I'm doing to carry forward. I fucking hate not having a wife. What else you want me to say? Oh, how are you? Oh, hi. How are you? You're doing amazing. Yeah, well, I put on a pretty good show, don't I? And I guess I have to. I have to at a certain level. I've got to carry on. I got to keep moving. Life goes on. If you've seen the movie A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks, good movie, by the way. Kind of a lot of things that he's going through, that Otto's going through, I've experienced. Other than taking your own life, that's not something that I've really even thought of. But it's tough for a lot of people. It's tough, and that movie really goes through some deep emotions for a husband that's having a tough time grappling with grief and with loss. And anyone who has lost someone, doesn't matter if it's your husband or wife or significant other, child, best friend, mom, dad, all those things, your person. I don't really like that word. You've lost your person. It's someone that you love, that you care about. It's I don't know. Person to me just seems very impersonable. I lost my wife. Someone might have lost their husband. Someone, of the same sex may have lost their wife or their husband. It doesn't matter. They lost someone who's very significant to them, son or daughter, or mom or dad, grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt, dog. Yeah, it's all there. Anyway, where was I going with this? What does love look like now? Interesting question. What does love look like now? Well, I still have a lot of love for my wife, and I don't see that ever changing. I will always love her for the rest of my life. And love takes different shapes and forms. I look at a lot of old pictures and videos, and unfortunately I don't have a lot of videos of Denise. I have her taking videos of the kids doing different things, and you can hear her, commentating or laughing. There's a lot of giggling, a lot of laughing. So I have that, but of actual video of Denise, there's very little footage of my wife. Pictures, yeah, we got tons of pictures, but movement, not so much. That's one thing I wish we had a lot more of, because I love to see her moving. Maybe another topic I'll talk about later is AI. I had this idea of cloning Denise on using AI, and it's still in the back of my mind. I fooled around with a few different things and got an AI model to essentially mimic her communication via text. Worked, quasi worked, but I didn't really massage it. I'd have to spend some more time on it. I got a little freaked out, actually, to be honest. I set this whole thing up, spent some time on it, pulled together all these messages and her responses, and so I could train the AI model to mimic her and her voice. And then I was like, okay, it's ready to go. Had the phone in my hand, and I was frozen. I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God. I started thinking, what if I text my AI Denise and it actually responds, and it responds in a way that is actually Denise, which is what I wanted. But when it really came down to it, I was like, holy shit, what if I do create a clone of Denise? Then what the fuck am I going to do? How is that going to screw with my mind? I don't know. So anyway, I tried it, and didn't work. But it's still on my mind. I still am thinking of doing it in a different way. There's a few things that I need to tweak as more of a memorial something, I don't know. I really don't know what it looks like yet, but it is something that I think I'm going to play with a little bit more. We'll see if I do, let you guys know. And we'll go from there. Kind of sorry about the sidetrack, but that's just something else that was on my mind. How can I recreate Denise? Because I actually talked to Denise a week before. Like we knew, we already had a date for hospice right ahead of time. We just knew this was going on based on everything that was going on. And I said to Denise, you know what? I read about this guy in California, some entrepreneur who his mother had a terminal illness, and he did almost like a cryogenic freezing, kind of like Han Solo back in Empire Strikes Back. So he froze his mom so that he can keep her in a cryogenic state, and then once they figure out how to cure the disease that she has, he's going to thaw her out, bring her back, and try and cure. Now, I don't know how real that story is. Somewhere in California, some guy, I actually didn't really look it up, but I said, hey, Denise, what if we just freeze you and, I wake you up in about 15 years? And, we laughed about that. Because probably, most likely, that's the thing with cancer. You're told you have terminal cancer. If you can stay alive long enough for the next best drug to show up so that it can keep you alive a little bit longer, then you're winning. 30 years ago, my wife would have died a lot sooner. At least she lived from 2016 to 2025 with the disease that came back a few times. 30 years ago, she probably would have died in the first go around. She wouldn't have made it. So yeah, that's the tricky part of the cancer diagnosis, depending on what you have and how aggressive it is. If there are new trials, new meds, that can keep you alive long enough for the next trial or the next miracle drug or methodology, you kind of cross your fingers that that's going to work. Obviously, it doesn't always work, and it sucks. So I don't know if I actually got to my answer here. What does love look like now? Yeah, it's missing my wife every day. I see it in my kids' eyes. I know that they're missing their mom. We're coming up to Christmas, and I love Christmas. But right now I don't love Christmas because, well, you can imagine. I can only imagine the way you feel. How do you like it when people say that? I fucking hate that, man. I can only imagine the way you feel. Really? Well, can you though? Can you really imagine? Maybe. If you can imagine the way I feel, and stop fucking telling me that you can imagine the way I feel and then run away. Okay? Just fucking put it away. I can only imagine the way you must be feeling. I can't imagine how you're dealing with things. I don't know how you do it. Fuck. Anyway, the things that people say, maybe that'll be a whole other session. The things that people say, everyone's had it, and you read it everywhere. Yeah. Stay strong. Stay strong for your kids. Don't show fucking weakness. Stay strong. Really? What does that mean? Yeah. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to pump some iron, get my dumbbells going. I'm going to stay strong for my kids and for me, because that's what Denise would want. She'd want you to stay strong. How the fuck do you know what she wants? You know what she wanted? She wanted to live. Yeah. I know what she wanted. She told me. She told me before she died. So, and stay strong actually wasn't one of the things that she said. It's a reality check. So, what has helped me? Looking at kind of walking forward, walking along this lovely path that I get to walk on now, and my kids get to walk, and my mom gets to walk right now with my dad gone. How do we move forward? How do we move along? especially when it's a brutal day, when things kind of sneak up on you and take you out of the game. What gets me through kind of the next hours or different things. Well, I read a handful of books, I don't know, 10 books or something on grief and loss and life after death. There's a few really good books out there that I actually want to do kind of a little book summary, book report. I think I might do that. But anyway, so I read some books on grief, on loss, some of the more common ones or well-known books that are out there, like It's Okay That You're Not Okay, Devine, right on the target here. That's a great book. If you think like you're falling apart and you don't know where to go or what the hell's wrong with you, well, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just going through grief. And Megan really explains it well. I want to go through her book on another session. Here's a really good book. The group, 7 Widowed Fathers, Reimagine Life. Wow. Does that talk to me? Of course it does. Not only is it 7 widowed fathers, all of them have kids. They've lost their wives. They've lost their wives to cancer. How relatable is that? It's immediately, or like it's relatable. Everything in there is so relatable. This one's something I'm still working through. Parent's Guide to Raising Grieving Children. It's a big read. There's a lot of examples in here. A lot of my examples are just example by fire or trial and error. And this is another book from Bruce Ham. What's it called again? Laughter, Tears, and Braids. Yeah, Bruce is one of the dads from the group. And he wrote kind of his memoir, his journey with his 3 daughters. And, it's kind of an open book into how he's moving forward with the loss of his wife. There's some other books I read too that were pretty good. But I think I'm going to go through that at another time. And I also have a couple of ideas around, or not ideas, but some movies and episodes and shows that I've watched that have been helpful to let me dive deep into grief and experience it, and then maybe step away and like, okay, well, those are things that I'm experiencing. It's okay to experience those things. So yeah, the other thing that I have found helpful is a couple of groups, like, there's obviously personal counseling, family counseling, and we've done that and continue to. And but there's a few groups that have been quite helpful and great resources. One is called Soaring Spirits International. I stumbled on these guys on the web, and I'm glad that I did. So look them up. I'll put the links in the description. But yeah, Soaring Spirits International and Widowed Village, they're kind of one and the same. So they have weekly remote sessions where you can dial in, and there's a bunch of other widows and widowers that are on there, and kind of like telling their story. Yeah, we're all coming from the same place. We all have one thing in common, which is a major thing. We've lost someone. It's a husband or wife. That's what it's designed for. It's not necessarily designed for, losing a child or losing a mom or dad. It's really designed for the widower. And so they have guest speakers that come on and sometimes talk about different topics that are relevant to all of us that are moving after loss, moving on after loss. Not moving on, but moving forward after loss, carrying it after loss. They have speakers and they have guest speakers that come in and they have guest speakers that come in and talk about, different various topics for widowhood and widowerhood. Anyway, it's been good. There's also I'll give one other example. There's a Kids Grief, kidsgrief.ca. It's in Canada. And they have some sessions once a month, I believe it is, where they just talk about, kids that have lost their parent. And there's people will send in questions and topics to discuss, and that's pretty good resources there too. I have some other ones. I'll talk about those at a later time. So where are we now? We're carrying her along with us. We have a beautiful memorial bench for her near the ocean, which is great. We had there was a holiday ceremony honoring a life at the park where her bench is at. So my kids and I were able to participate in that celebration, and it was a moving celebration. And it was not just us, but a lot of people that have lost a close loved one, that were honoring their life with a little ceremony, which is great. And now I'm thinking about how do we move forward with different rituals with Christmas. Still haven't figured that out, and I don't know we're gonna come up with small things that'll work for us. For Thanksgiving, I have a candle that I decided to light and have it at the table. And that really was representing Denise being with us. And we're going to do the same thing for Christmas. I have definitely hung up her stocking. There's something that I would give her every year. And I'm going to continue to do that. And, it's some yummy chocolates. So then we get to all enjoy the chocolates. I don't want that to go away. I don't want those memories to go away. So I'm not sure where else to go from here. I think that's that's my story. If you're a guy that's listening right now that lost his wife recently or several years ago, doesn't really matter. Hopefully this helps a bit to hear a perspective of someone else. I think we're mostly in the same boat, but we haven't experienced the same loss. I know that. Everyone's different, but we do have one thing in common. One thing that we don't want to have in common is what it is. So hopefully this is somewhat helpful for you listeners, and please feel free to shoot me some comments. I want to do an interview style with other guys that have lost the loves of their life. So if you're interested, let me know. I'm going to figure out how to do some type of interview style session, split screen, like the pros. I'm definitely not a pro, but if they can do it, I'm sure I can figure it out. But it's just another way to help each other out, help out anyone else in this situation that we are in, the club that none of us asked to join. And I just want you to know that you're not crazy. You're not alone. We're all in this together. Grief doesn't end. And love doesn't end either. And somehow we're going to learn to carry both and continue on with our lives. So to close this out, this is the Empty Bed Podcast. Thank you for listening. If you've listened this long, thank you so much. Please subscribe. Tell your friends. But if you do want to share your story, or you know of a widowed dad that's raising kids, maybe after a cancer loss, whether yes or no, reach out, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy your day.